If this happens, it would be potentially disastrous for the final season of Stranger Things. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm talking about Stranger Things Season 5, and how if a certain thing goes down near the end of this season, it could be a potential disaster scenario. But before I get into this, be sure to hit that like button. It helps out more than you guys know. Drop some of your theories and predictions for the final season of Stranger Things down below. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means a lot. I'm trying to make that final push. I'm so close. And go show some love to the Unusual Couple podcast for weekly episodes with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We have a lot of fun with it over there and do weekly episodes. Alright, so as we all know, the final season of Stranger Things is currently filming right now in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a plethora of update videos and continue to put those out throughout the off-season of Stranger Things. I have a whole playlist that I'll link up above. And when it comes to this final season, there are certain things I'd love to see, and then certain scenarios that I think would just not work out well. Now, I have the utmost confidence in the Duffer Brothers and full faith they will stick the landing with this final season, but on paper, there are some ideas where I go, that sounds awful. And one of those that I think is a horrible idea, at least on paper, is this big superhero team-up of characters taking on Vecna and his army in the final episode of the show. Now, we know Eleven has powers and she's going to take on Vecna at some point. It's inevitable. They set it up at the end of season 4. But this scenario I'm referring to would have her teaming up with others. Let's talk about it now. So for starters, in Stranger Things Season 2, we have Episode 7, The Lost Sister. It is widely regarded as the outlier episode of the entire show, as Eleven is with Callie, or 08, the entire time, and her group of friends, and 08 also has her own powers just like 11. Now, this episode is panned by everyone, and I personally never go back and rewatch it when I do my Stranger Things rewatches, just because I do think it is wholly unnecessary, unfortunately. But you have to factor in the fact that it still does exist, it's canon to Stranger Things, and 08 is still out there lurking when this final season is coming out. However, we have not seen 08 show up in this show in the present-day timeline since that episode of the show. She's been referred to in flashbacks, and we briefly saw her in some flashbacks in Season 4, but we haven't actually seen her character return in the same form she was in Season 2, so the door is still open for her to potentially show up in this final season and team up with Eleven. Now, I personally don't think the Duffer Brothers are going to go that route. They are very aware of the fact that the fandom does not care for this episode, and they've stayed away from it ever since. It didn't derail the series. Obviously, Season 2 had a fantastic last 2 episodes to end. In fact, if you look at the last 4 episodes taking out The Lost Sister, episodes 5, 6, and then 8 and 9, Season 2 ends on an extremely high note. But for a minute there, the talk was like, is Stranger Things losing touch because of that one episode? Seasons 3 and 4 obviously erased all of that talk real quick because this show has become this worldwide phenomenon, but we still have to acknowledge that Callie exists. Am I happy about that? No, I don't think that we need to see her ever again. But in this scenario that could be disastrous, she plays a role. But another factor in this potential superhero team-up is the character Will Byers. That's right, Will Byers, the little boy who goes missing at the beginning of Stranger Things Season 1. He's obviously a main character of this show, and a lot of the main plot revolves around him and his connection to the Upside Down, and Season 5 seemed like it's going to delve further into that than any other season has. In fact, we know the first scene of Stranger Things Season 5. On Stranger Things Day last year, the Duffer Brothers put out a little glimpse of the script, and it's describing a cold, dark setting, a boy likely in the Upside Down, and we hear him singing. Most definitely this is going to be Should I Stay or Should I Go, and the season's probably going to open with a Will Byers flashback to his time in the Upside Down, which is something I've been clamoring for. I would love to see Will's POV during his time in the Upside Down and potentially give us more answers to what exactly went down when he was there, but also a potential relationship with Vecna. We could have some retcon action going on, and I trust the Duffer Brothers more than anybody to further develop that relationship. But here's the kicker. We know Will Byers is going to have more of a prominent role. The Duffer Brothers have said in interviews, Will's going to have more of a focus. We want to go back to the Season 1 roots and character groupings, and Will obviously was the central focus of Season 1. He wasn't on screen, but everyone trying to find his character in Season 1 was at the core of the story, essentially. So in Season 5, Will's going to play this bigger role, but there could be a revelation made that he himself developed powers during his time in the Upside Down, and over the years as he's gotten older, his connection has gotten stronger, and there could be some sort of moment where he has powers similarly to 11. And if this happens, on the one hand it could seem really far-fetched and stupid, but on the other it could be compelling. It just depends on how it's all written. And again, I have faith in the Duffer Brothers, but here's where things get really scary for me. I mentioned earlier how 11 facing off against Vecna is inevitable. I then talked about how 08 comes coming back in the picture could happen. And at least 2 characters with these powers going up against Vecna, but you throw in a 3rd character with Will Byers having powers similar to those characters, and that's where things might get a little too ridiculous. One of my biggest fears is that in this final season of Stranger Things, we get this superhero showdown that's trying to feel like some Avengers moment where we've got, you know, Tony and Cap and Thor going up against Thanos. That's not what we need. That's not what Stranger Things is about. So if Eleven, Callie, and Will team up and they're all like 3-on-1 fighting Vecna, while it could seem cool on paper, that's just not Stranger Things in my opinion. That abandons the characters that we all know and love, because no one watched the show without the deep admiration that we have for these characters. And to me, it would be like, yeah, you know what? We don't need to see these human characters in that underdog role. We don't need to see them fight Vecna. Let's just have this big spectacle showdown. That'd almost be a betrayal of what Stranger Things has been. I think back to the end of season 4. We had this epic showdown with the Running Up That Hill remix playing, and we're cutting between 3 locations. We had Hopper out in Russia. He's 1-on-1 fighting a Demogorgon. He's the underdog. He knows I could probably die fighting this thing. It's probably more powerful than me and could easily kill me. It just wiped out a bunch of these other Russian prisoners. But he picks up that sword and he says, you know what? This is for the greater good. This is for the people I love. And he goes headfirst into the belly of the beast and takes down the Demogorgon. Then you've got Robin, Steve, and Nancy throwing Molotov cocktails at Vecna. And on the other hand, you've got Eleven facing off against Vecna as well. So there's 3 layers to this whole final showdown. And because of that, you feel so invested. I'm thinking about it right now and I want to pop it on my TV and rewatch the scene, and I'll get up and I'll get going. I want to run a mile and punch a hole in the wall because it will get me that jazzed up. We need something like that in the final season. And I think that the Duffer Brothers understand that, but there's that tiny sliver of a chance that we might see something just outlandish happen where it turns into a superhero showdown. That's never been what Stranger Things is all about. If you go back to the end of every season, it's about our characters almost defying the odds. They're always underdogs. Like in season 3, the Battle of Starcourt, they're shooting off fireworks at the physical form Mind Flayer. In season 1, Lucas uses his slingshot against the Demogorgon. Obviously, Eleven fights the Demogorgon, but still, there are moments of bravery with our human characters who do not have powers in every single season where they're willing to say, you know what, I could die right now, but I'm willing to take down this evil entity for my city and for the ones I love. That's really the heart of Stranger Things and a reason that we're all able to connect with the show so much, and I hope the Duffer Brothers know that. I'm pretty sure they do. They've knocked it out of the park with 4 seasons, so I don't think we're gonna go the route of this stupid superhero showdown, which in this hypothetical could still be badass and cool if they pull it off. But there is a world where it's like, oh my gosh, this is like trying to rip off some final superhero fight showdown. That's not what it's about. I think they understand that. I'd much rather see all of our main characters, all of our human characters in Eleven coming face to face with Vecna at his most powerful, and all of those humans saying, you know what, we have Eleven, she might not be able to take him down right now, but because we love each other and for the greater good, we're gonna put our lives in danger to put a stop to Vecna and the Upside Down one last time. I have full confidence in whatever the Duffer Brothers do. I don't think they'll go the route of having this big superhero showdown with 11, 8, Will, and Vecna, and then potentially just other random people who get powers. That would just be ridiculous, right? I don't think they're gonna go that route. I think whatever they cook up for us will be a very satisfying conclusion because, again, they've knocked it out of the park 4 seasons in a row. Why should we even worry with this 5th season? But I will say, there is that potential disastrous scenario, but I really hope they don't do this in the final season. So in conclusion, I trust the Duffer Bros to end this show in a satisfying way, but there is that slight chance that it could be disastrous. I just don't like to think about the negatives with this show. But let me know in the comments down below your theories and predictions based on everything I just talked about. Do you think 8's showing up will have powers? Let's talk about that and more in the comments down below. And before I get out of here, I wanted to let you guys know I will be at MegaCon February 1st through February 4th. And on Sunday, February 4th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be hosting a Stranger Things panel with myself, my girlfriend Cam, and Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About. We'll be talking Stranger Things Season 5 theories. I'd love to meet some of you guys there. So if you're at MegaCon, be sure to come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. But that'll do it. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and go show some love to the Unusual Couple podcast for weekly episodes with myself and my girlfriend. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the other side of the Upside Down.